So this chart over here shows is our U.S. unemployment rate. Now, if you look at our unemployment rate, there's a percentage of population who's currently not working and then actively looking for a job. So which means to be called unemployed, you must be actively looking for a job. But if you're not looking for a job, you are not unemployed. But notice how this chart over here, so start from 1950s and to about 2010, and then it's fluctuating, right? It's very cyclical. So it's going up, coming down, going up, coming down. You don't see any long-term trend that's going up. So what is happening here, the reason why it's going up and down, because our economy, it follows our business cycle. That you have expansions, recession, expansion, recession. It's very natural. So every 5 to 7 years, we'll have a business cycle, and then you'll see another recession. So the last recession was in 2008, so about 10 years ago. So which means we're a little overdue for a recession. So, but don't worry, by the time you guys graduate from college, we'll be just in time for recession, okay? So stay in school, okay? Now, so this doesn't show you what kind of job we lost, and this doesn't show you that we're even losing jobs at all. Let me show you a different chart. This is our US labor force. So that previous chart only shows you the unemployment rate, which is the percentage of our labor force that's currently unemployed. Now, we need to look at what is our labor force. So labor force, there are anybody in America today who is currently working or looking for a job right now. So employed plus unemployed, that is our labor force. So today our labor force is about 162 million people earlier last year. And then our population is about 328 million people. So roughly speaking, about half of our population is currently in the labor force. Now, any idea who are not in the labor force? Children, of course, right? We don't have child labor. Actually, no, we do have child labor. Any idea what's the minimum working age in America, legally? 16, right? 15 with parents' permission. But however, there is one industry. They are allowed to hire workers as young as 12 years old and then pay them below minimum wage. So child labor. Any idea which industry that is? Farming. So if you own a farm, you can hire kids as young as 12 years old and also pay them below minimum wage. So for any children, they are not in the labor force. Now, who else not in the labor force? Older people, right? So people in their 80s, 90s, or who are retired, they're not working anymore, they're not in the labor force. There's one more group. Any idea who else not in the labor force? Okay, disabled. Okay, find one more group. Moms? Stay-home moms? Okay, all right. I don't want to sound very sexist, but as economists, this is what happens. Is stay-home mom a job? I mean, it is, right? They do so much for us. Any idea how much it costs you to replace your mom? Ask your dad, he'll know, okay? So imagine you want to hire somebody to do everything your mom does, right? So to cook for you, to clean for you, to part-time chauffeur, full-time psychiatrist. So for everything your mom does, you want to hire somebody to do everything your mom does, annually it will cost you about $170,000. Now, how much did we pay our mom last year? Did you pay your mom anything last year? Nothing, right? I mean, sure, we pay with love, right? But love is worthless. You can't pay bill with love. So therefore, because we don't pay our mom for everything our mom does, therefore everything your mom does for you guys, they are not part of labor force because it's not valued by our economy. Now, however, if your mom do the same thing for some other family and they pay her for that, that will be part of the labor force. So your mom are not in the labor force. Any idea what else not in the labor force? Let me give you one more category. So if you guys go home, Google this. It's a category called discouraged worker. There are people who want to work but decide to stop to looking for a job. So imagine that you are unemployed right now and you've been looking for a job for the last 2 years, 2 long years. So every day, you're submitting resumes, going to interview, nobody want to hire you. And then maybe the next morning decided, you know what, forget about it, right? Why do I even try? I've been trying for 2 years now, right? So let me stop. But the moment you stop looking for a job, you are no longer unemployed and you are no longer in the labor force. So there's a big group of Americans who want to work but decide to stop looking for a job. And they're not in the labor force. Make sense? All right, so let me show you a chart. So this is our labor force participation rate. So this shows you the percentage of our adult population who is currently in the labor force. Now notice the number is going up for 1950s, and then it peaked about 1980s or 1990s, and it has been steadily coming down since 1980, 1990s. Any idea why is it coming down? Or any idea why it was going up back then? Technology? Well, let me show you one more chart. This one. This is our labor force participation rate by gender. Now the blue line on top, that's your participation rate by male. The pink line on the bottom, that's your participation rate by female. Notice in the 1950s, the male participation rate was well above 85%. So many of the adult males, they're all in the labor force, they're all working. But the female participation rate was only about 30-some%, less than 35%. Any idea why was that? Why wasn't the ladies working back then? Okay, so part of it because there wasn't many jobs available for the ladies, right? And also, guys, imagine all the old TV shows you see on TV before, the old TV shows. If you see a wife or a stay-at-home mom, they're staying home. So once you get married in those old days, you don't work anymore. You stay home, take care of the family. So therefore, they're not part of our labor force. And then for those 30-some%, most of them, they're all unmarried female. So before you get married, you have a job, but once you're married, you don't work anymore. You're staying in the home, take care of the family. Remember that TV show, the 70s show? Yeah, remember the mom, what did she do? Stay-at-home mom, right? So she wasn't part of 35% over here because she was staying at home and not looking for a job. Now, but back then, most of the guys working because the norm was that you're going to support your family, you must be working. So all the guys have a job. And also, in the old days, if you're a guy, you have a job, does it require a lot of education for you? I mean, do you need a college degree to get a job? Like good paying job? Not really, right? So in the old days, because everything was cheaper in the old days, it was possible to have a family that depends only one paycheck. But nowadays, most families require 2 paychecks. That's why you see this number is converging. So more jobs available for females. I mean, this is, again, maybe going back to more gender equality, so less discrimination in the labor force. But also that many families require 2 paychecks now. So many of the moms, maybe they don't want to work, but because they need a higher income for the family, they have to work now. That's why the female number has been going up. But any idea why is the male number going down? Is it because guys, naturally, we're more lazy? We tend to stay on the couch, watch TV all day long? Yeah, maybe. Anything else that might be? Stay-home dad. There are a lot of them, stay-home dad. Gender equality. On the machines, okay. Guys, let me ask you a question. Anybody here today that you're wearing something that's made in America on you right now? That your shirt, your shoes, your jeans, they're made in America? Not really, right? So guys, tell you what, 40 years ago, so as late as 1970s, US, we had the biggest textile industry. All the good shirts, all the good jeans, all the good shoes, they're all made in America. Now, what happened today? Where are they made from now? China, right? But if you check our shoes, they're coming from China, Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia, so all over the countries. So what happens is that because we're more import now. So it's more import that our company are now allowed to move the jobs overseas to take advantage of the cheaper labor. But who is suffering because of this? The male-dominated industries, the manufacturing industries. So many of our manufacturing industries, they now moved overseas. That's why those jobs has becoming less available, and it's now more difficult for our uneducated, unskilled male labor to find a job in this economy. So many of them decide, let me just stop. Why even try? Can't find a job anywhere. Let me stay home with the family. Make sense? All right, but notice how, see the very end of it? So like after 2000s, like both number went down. Any idea what happened? Why did both number go down? 2 reasons. Recession. So 2008 was a recession. It was a huge recession, very bad recession. It was called the Great Recession. Unemployment was as high as 10%. So many people back then decided, you know what, why even try? Can't find a job anywhere. Let me stop looking for a job. That's why you see a huge dip in 2008. And also the general trend is that number, our labor force participation rate, today is a little higher. But the general trend is that for the next 10 to 20 years, it will keep going down. Any idea why that is? Why will the number keep going down for the next 10 to 20 years? Guys, everybody get your phone out. Get your phone out, or get your calculator out. I'm going to do a simple calculation, okay? Are you guys ready? All right, so use 2019 minus 1945. What's the answer? Okay. What is special about 1945? I'm sorry, what is the question? Baby boomers, right? So the baby boomers, they're the group of Americans who were born after 1945, before 1965. They're going into retirement age now. And then that's a big chunk of US population. So that big group are now going into retirement. That's why it's lowering our average for the entire nation. Now, and another thing that if you guys really care about Social Security and Medicare, you shouldn't, okay? Because by the time you guys retire, there won't be anything available anymore, okay? So just keep in mind the reason, you know who messed it up? Old people, okay? You know how they mess it up? They don't die, that's a problem, okay? All right, so because of that, because people are living longer and longer now, they're spending more time in retirement age, that's why this number has been going down for the last 10 years and will be for the next 10 to 20 years. Make sense? All right, this shows you the percentage of import in America. So remember we said that many of the manufacturing jobs are moved overseas now, because that is true. If you look at our import, bigger portion of our economy now depends on import. Now, back in 1960s, only about 4% of the US economy coming from import. Now today, that percentage is over 15%. So almost one of every $6 in American spending is all on import. Now, many of those jobs, they were used to be in America. But now today with import, with countries like China, Vietnam, Cambodia, that those jobs are overseas now. Now, do you guys want those jobs back? Anybody here want to become a t-shirt maker once you graduate from college? You want to become a master printer? You can print all the paper for everybody? Not really, right, guys? Tell you what, those jobs we lost, they are lost forever, and they will never come back. If those jobs ever come back, that's a problem for US. Because when they come back, that means US labor just becoming cheaper than the Chinese labor. If that ever happens, you won't see me here anymore. I'll be back to motherland, okay? All right, so the reason why our job took a big hit before the 2000s is because of trade. With more trade with Asian countries, especially China, then more jobs go overseas now. That's why we're losing those jobs overseas. Here is our manufacturing employment. So how many of our employment is in the manufacturing industries? Notice how it's like increasing after World War II, and again it peaked about 1980s, and then trade happened, and the number has been coming down now. The lowest point at the very end, that was our recession. So for the last 40-some years, the number of employment in the manufacturing industries has been decreasing because of trade. And the recession took a huge hit, but after recession, we come back a little bit, so the manufacturing industry is slowly recovering. But it will never go back to the previous level again, okay? Any idea what kind of job in the manufacturing industries? What's the manufacturing industry? What do they do? Making cars, right? What else do they make? iPhones? Who has iPhone right now? Who has iPhone wannabes? I'm sorry, Samsung Galaxies. Anybody? All right, very good. Do you guys know where is iPhone made? China, right? So was iPhone ever made in America before? The very first generation? It was never in America. That production was always in China. So many of those manufacturing jobs, we don't have them anymore. So I have a list over here. So from the very top, those are the most vulnerable manufacturing jobs. So food productions, beverage productions, textile industries. How often do you see a shirt that's made in America or shoes made in America? Not anymore, right? Leather good industries. So those are the jobs that's most vulnerable to trade. Now, second one, they're the more advanced manufacturing, that we still have them over here, but maybe not for long, okay? And then third one, we just never had it. So for computers, never made in America before. iPhones, never made in America before. TVs, ever bought a made in American TV before? I don't remember. You go to Costco today, look at all the TV they have. Look at the back, what does it say? Made in China, right? I mean, look at me, turn me back, I said made in China in the back. So they were never made in America before. And then transportation equipment, those are cars. Anybody here ever drive an American-made car? I mean, you all believe that. You all believe that your car was made in America. Isn't Ford a US company? It is. GM, US company. Dodge, US company. But tell you what, your Ford F-150, the truck from Ford, is less American than the Toyota Tundra, the Japanese truck. The reason why, because for the Tundra, most of the parts for Tundra, they're made in America, San Antonio. But most of the parts for Ford F-150, they're now made in Mexico. So your Ford is less American than your Toyota now. So that's why even if you think that you're buying an American car, but they're not really made in America. A very small percentage is made in America because overseas is cheaper. Now last one's furniture. Now, the reason why I put it on there because of Mattress Mac. You guys ever go to Mattress Mac before? Yeah, nice furnitures. They're not cheap, very expensive. But you know what? They were all made in America. So today, many of our consumers, we still have this desire, this taste for American-made furnitures. Those Amish furniture, they're made in America, right? So there's still a small part of the market that's still in America. But if you go to most of other furniture stores, oh, you know what? The worst one, Room to Go. Anybody been to Room to Go before? Nice company, nice stores, right? If you go to Room to Go, everything from Room to Go are made overseas. That's why if you order furniture from Room to Go, they'll tell you, oh, it will be here within 6 weeks, within 8 weeks. Why? Because they're shipping them from China, from Vietnam. Take a long time to get here. So those industries, they're all at risk. What about service industries? So if you look at our service providing industries, the employment for service industry has been increasing steadily. Doesn't matter how good the economy is, doesn't matter how bad the economy is, the number of jobs in the service industry has been increasing very steadily. So if you guys want a job for the future, it might be in this category over here, the service providing industries. Because for manufacturers, they won't be here for long. So any idea what kind of jobs are in the service industries? Childcare, very good. Police officers, okay, what else? Firefighters. Medical, huge category. Services, okay. Food services. So these are the categories. They're number one, retail. Retail is still a big part of our service industries. Do you guys want to get a retail job? No, go to Zara or Forever 21, sell clothes. They don't pay much, right? That's not a career. Transportation, you guys want to be in transportation? Become a truck driver? Pays pretty good. I mean, if you're a truck driver, if you travel on the road, most days of the year, you can easily make about $100,000. But you know what? If you guys, anybody here ever go to Phoenix, Arizona, when you drive on I-10 on Phoenix, Arizona, be careful, look out, because they already have trucks in Phoenix that's driverless. They're operated by computers. So those jobs are going away now, okay? What about information technologies? Computers, ITs, yeah? We still have it, very good pay, but you know what? India do the same thing now. So for many of the computer programmers, they're now competing against programmers in India, and the pay is much lower in India, okay? Financial services, want to become a banker? Yeah? Who want to make money? Make a lot of money, okay? Going to finance, you can make a lot of money. Become a stockbroker. When you become a stockbroker, imagine if you're a stockbroker, your annual salary is only $200,000. Only $200,000, who cares about that? But your bonus every year might be more than $5 million. Good money, right? But how many stockbrokers do we need in the country? 20 million? 120 million? Tell you what, the registered stockbroker in America is less than 3,000 people. Okay, so good pay, but very, very competitive. Very, very competitive, okay? Now next we have professional and business services. So there your, anybody here want to become a secretary for a career? No? You want to become a manager? Manager is good pay, right? But again, how many managers do we need? Not that many, okay? Education, who want to become a teacher? One person in the entire group? Oh my God, okay. Okay, you know what? For teaching, there's a secret that all the professors we know about, but we don't tell people, but let me tell you now. By the way, whatever it says here stays here, okay? So this is your professor-student confidentiality, okay? So teaching is good. Teaching is very rewarding. And then for me, the best part about teaching is that when I see you guys suffer, I feel better inside, okay? So really, you can do this. And the teaching is not bad at all. It's pretty good pay. But there is a problem. There is a threat. Because who here taking online classes before? Online classes? Okay. So when you guys taking online classes, do you see your professor in the online classes? Do you know your professor in the online classes? You don't. Now, from my class, I post my videos online, so students can look at my video lectures. But you know, it's kind of weird. Because when I walk in the school hallway, and then all of a sudden this girl in front of me starts smiling at me. I said, wow, who are you? I mean, wow, am I that handsome? Maybe not. Well, she was my student from before, right? But I never saw her before. But the same with online classes. With online classes, we're taking the professor out of the classroom. That you are learning, but not from the professors. So with that risk, the online class can be really mass produced. You might have one or two professors who does a very good job, produce 1 million classes, and then you guys all taking class from the same professor. So there won't be that many jobs available. And you guys all doing the same thing. I mean, you have your phones with you, right? So there's the online book, online homeworks. Now that is a threat to the face-to-face professors. Make sense? Healthcare. Is healthcare reliable? I mean, like, you know, Professor John Barr says, you know, if you're in the radiology, you might not have a job anymore. What if you are a surgeon or a family care doctor? Would that be a pretty good job? At least for the next 20 years. Any idea why? Why would a doctor be good for at least 20 years for now? Remember all those old people we mentioned before? Yeah, what do they need? Healthcare. They need healthcare. They need to go see doctors. So if you guys want to go get a good paying job for at least next 20 years, go into healthcare. Be a doctor. Or you know what, you don't want to be a doctor? Be a nurse. The nurse pay in America is very, very high. And there's a very high demand for nurse. There's a very high demand for male nurse. So for many hospitals, they have a shortage for male nurse. So for all the male nurse, when they sign up, they have a $10,000 sign-up bonus just for signing up to become a male nurse. And then the pay is so good, you have other doctors from other country come to America to become a nurse because pay is so good. So there's still hope in healthcare industry, but not for long. Because once those old people dies off, once there are more technology available in the industry, there will be less demand for doctors. Have you guys seen those doctors on the iPad before? So I have an app on my phone. It's called Doc See Me. So what it does, it allows me to see my doctor on my phone. So I don't have to go to my doctor's office anymore. Now, that sounds very good, but you know what it did? It made the doctor so efficient, they can see so many patients than before, that we don't need that many doctors anymore. Make sense? All right, and then last one we have leisure and hospitality. What is that? Your fast food industries. Anybody here want to become a fast food worker for the next 30, 40 years? I mean, the pay is getting better, right? How much is the pay right now, minimum wage? $7.25, and they're asking for $15 per hour, so it's getting better. But it's hard life. You have no pay vacation, you have no pay healthcare, and all you have is $15 per hour, and then your hour is not really stable. So for many of the fast food industry workers, they work in 2, 3 jobs just to get by. So this is not a very good picture either. All right, this is our manufacturing output. So how much we're producing by the manufacturers in America. Do you see a general trend over here? I mean, there was a big dip about 2008, there was a recession, but do you see the general trend going on? It's like going up, right? Now let's look at the employment number again. So the employment number has been going down for the last 40, 30 some years, but the production has been going up for that many years. How is it possible? more efficient, right? So this is happening because our companies are now employing more technologies in the productions. So even though we have less number of laborers available in the productions, but they will have more technologies, more capitals, make all the workers more efficient to produce more good at a lower cost. That's why our production has been increasing. So many of our jobs in the manufacturing industries, they are now replaced by robots. Now, when I say robots, I don't mean this. Do you guys know what this is? No. It's a robot from Honda. Basically, it does nothing. Okay. When I say robot, I mean this. Guys seen this before? Robotic arms, right? So they're almost everywhere. Guys, I want you to picture in your head. Back in 1970s, how do we produce a car? So on the assembly line, what do you see in the assembly line? Obviously, there's a car in there, but you see peoples in there, right? So it might be something that looks like this, with all the peoples on the assembly line. So what happens is that now, with all the robotic arms, all computer programmed, we don't need workers anymore. And the computer does it more and better for us. And that's not bad. But if you look at the pros and cons, the pro is that we can produce more cars now, cheaper cars, better cars, more than before. But the con is that we're taking the worker out. That those workers, they used to getting paid pretty good, the good paying middle class jobs, but they're not there anymore because they're replaced by computers. Make sense? Because with all the robotic arms with the surgeon, we can now perform more precision surgeries. Before it wasn't possible, now it's possible. But you also see what is called a superstar phenomenon. So for the superstar phenomenon, with more technologies, we make those good surgeons way more efficient than before. And then guys, for that surgeon, he doesn't have to go to the hospitals anymore. With all the internet and everything, he can perform a surgery at home and just use a screen for it. So this one surgeon can perform way more surgery than before, which means everybody else have less jobs available. And will depress those wage for anybody who is as good as him. So this superstar phenomenon will be happening in many of the service industries. It's happening right now. Think about your singers, right? Your Miley Cyrus. Anybody here a Miley Cyrus fan? Okay, I'm sorry. Justin Bieber. Anybody Bieber fan here? Okay, all right. I know, right? Tough crowd. What do you guys listen to? Give me a name. I'm sorry? I'm sorry, who? So you said, oh yeah. I was like, oh no, never heard it before. All right, but what it does, with internet, we made those very few celebrities very, very famous, but everybody else make less money. Make sense? All right. Let me show you an article, okay? Anybody here want to become a journalist? Become a writer? Okay. So this is the article published by Washington Post a couple years ago. Let's go to the end of the article, this last line. So this story may be updated if more information becomes available. It is powered by Halograph, the Post artificial intelligence system. So this entire article was not written by people, written by computer softwares. So if you want to become a journalist, there won't be that many jobs available anymore. Even as a writer, it might not be that easy anymore. Make sense? All right, so any idea for all the jobs we have in the service industry, which one is most vulnerable to technology change right now? Education and health. Let me show you a formula. Let me show you an equation. So you want to see how secure a job is. You need this simple formula. So your job security equals to your work difficulty divided by the wage of the worker. So basically we said that for job security and your work difficulty, they are directly related. So the more difficult your job is, the more job security you have. But vice versa, the less difficult your job is, the less security you have. Now second is your wage. So the more income you have, the more likely you're going to be replaced by a computer or machine. So less job security you have. But the less income you have, then the more secure your job is. Then nobody cares about you. Why even bother? So according to this formula, any idea which service job is most vulnerable? Fast food, right? Fast food. So for fast food industries, they're asking for higher pay, $15, right? And then many of the employees asking for a benefit, pay vacation, pay time off, pay healthcare. That's not bad at all. And trust me, those people, they deserve it. But with all those benefits getting paid out, with a higher pay getting paid out, it just made them more expensive. Wage goes up, less job security. And also, how difficult is those jobs, flipping burgers? Not that hard, right? So they can be easily replaced. So the fast food industry right now is the most vulnerable service industry that's to the threat of automations. Have you guys go to the new McDonald's before? The new one? Remember the kiosk in the new McDonald's? You go there, you can order everything from the computer, and then the order goes in. What's the rationale behind the kiosk? You reduce number of employees in the company, right? Save money on labor. And you guys all go to Buc-ee's before, right? Remember at Buc-ee's, you order food from the computer, right? So cool, right? But you know what? It also replaces human labors. So all those things that's happening in the fast food industry today is now reducing the number of employment in the industry. Cut on cost. If you ask for most economists their opinion about the future, we all speak like Captain Hindsight. I cannot tell you what's going to happen in the future. Not tomorrow, not even 20 years from now. But I can tell you this. You want a good job, good paying job, then do the 4 above. So in the short term, make sure you have more flexibility. So keep in mind that the industry going into might not be the same industry in the next 5 to 10 years. And then second, be more creative. Be the superstar in your industry. Then you can have the superstar phenomenon, make more income than everybody else. And then next, well, education is important. Get your education. If you only have a high school degree, it's not enough anymore. And even today, if you only have a bachelor degree, it might not be enough anymore, right? Go further, get a master, get a PhD. And then last one is job training, continuous job training. So once you have the job, that's not the end of it. Keep training yourself, getting the new knowledge, new skill, and that will become unlay-offable. So nobody can lay off anymore. But in the long run, I want everybody imagine for the next 100 years. So 100 years from now, there will be so many robots available. We produce so much good available, but we don't need people anymore. So what happened to our job? Now, there are some radical ideas out there. Number one says we might need a universal basic income. So in 100 years from now, nobody have a job anymore, then what do we do, right? Well, where does the income come from? Then maybe everybody needs to have a basic income from the government. Now, where does the money come from? Tax on robots. Who said it? Bill Gates said it. So Bill Gates actually said that we should have a tax on robots. And the European Union, they try to pass this law. They try to pass a law, try to tax any robots who replace workers. And then the idea is that we're going to tax those robots and then use the revenue to retrain the workers who got displaced by the robots. So that's the long-term ideas.